Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Kiss My Cheeks TV. I have the trio here myself, Drew with Angel Cake Entertainment, and Charles with Charles Warren Online. And we are here to give you our fantasy updates for the Challenge 37. We're extremely excited about it, but I think we're all a little bit more excited to give you Survivor at 7. So if you're watching us now, please stick around for 7 p.m. Central. We will be doing our Survivor review. So up first, um, do we all have to introduce ourselves? I think everyone should kind of know us by now. But
yeah, I'm cool with not doing that.
Okay, let's jump right into our fantasy updates. We see Eric is in the chat. How are you doing, Eric? I'm about to show you all the leaderboard. Do you want to take a guess at who's in first place?
Me.
I'm gonna say me. We're all confident in our own stuff.
Here we go. Charles is far in the lead with 129 points. I'm in the middle at 106. Drew,
yes, photo. You change your photo every time.
I did change my photo every time. I can't help it. Drew is pulling in the rear at 66, but as we go through these slides, I feel like there's hope for you, Drew. It's not a win-win thing because we all remember last season, Charles shot out there at the beginning, but me and Drew pulled off the win in the end.
But that's because we didn't do points last season. We just did winner. If you had the winner, you won it regardless. So
okay, we're not going back to last season. I was just stating.
I love you both.
Okay. So no worries about the leadership board. We still have a lot of game left to play. Let's talk about the star players on our team. Drew, who do you think is your star player, the one that's putting you the most points so far in this fantasy draft?
I think in our first video recap, I think it was Devin because he was getting picked so much. But when taking a look at who's on my team, most of everybody is super quiet. They faded into the background after the first couple of episodes. Like Nelson isn't doing a whole lot. Amanda, Big T, Casey, they're all just in the background right now. I think Josh is my best bet on pulling in points with how many fights he's doing. He made out with Esther, and he's been yelling at a lot of people lately. So I would have to say Josh is like my lead on my low budget team right now.
Charles, who's your leader? Do you think is leading your team?
I'm not sure, but I think maybe Emmanuel, because him and Casey have done well throughout the season. But on the other hand, Amber B has been fighting like every episode the past couple. So I don't know. If Amber B has been getting fighting points, then she might be coming up in the ranks. And she won an elimination. So, Amber B may be coming through.
That's a good guess, Charles. But let's look at the slide. Charles, your leader is Fessy. You forgot Fessy won 2 dailies. That's 20 points off of 2 daily wins. And Fessy he just went home for fighting and arguing. He got you a bunch of argument points there. True. My leader is Esther. I believe Esther is in the lead because she's tied to Fessy. All the points Fessy gets, Esther gets. And you were correct, Drew. Your lead was Josh with 18 points. He has been stirring up a lot, and those make-out points pushed him over the edge. And we do have points for second and third place, and he had a couple of daily points as well. Not first, but second and third. So you were right with Josh.
I will say
star player.
That I am gonna take that as a good sign because both your high valued players both just left this past episode. So
right.
Yo, Josh, coming in hot. Let's go. Keep winning.
You still have your star player, and our players are stopped at those 29 points. That's all they're ever going to get. So we saw Fessy go home this episode. That was Charles' star player. Now that Fessy is out of the house, gentlemen, who do you think is up next to be the big dog daily winner guy for the Challenge 37?
I'm still feeling Emmanuel and Casey.
Casey.
They are to me, the most equally yoked duo. And I feel like, um, surprisingly, with the Esther and Fessy duo, they were great. But I think duos that have a man and a woman that are kind of similar in athleticism, similar in size, they usually work really well. And I think that's also why Amber B does so well because she's a taller woman. She's long. So when you match her with another taller, leaner, athletic guy, they do well. So I don't know. I think Emmanuel or I ain't gonna give Amber too much. Emmanuel is my answer. Hopefully.
What about you, Drew? Do you agree?
You know what? I will agree for the sole fact that I will say that I think Josh and Ashley have a shot just because he did come in like second and third in some of these. And now that Fessy's kind of gone, Josh can maybe be bolstered up to the top. He does have a lot of friends. So if there are any more sabotage missions, maybe he can like wiggle out and get a first place win. But I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think maybe Casey and Emmanuel maybe got their wind this episode or this mission that happened so long ago. 2 weeks ago was the last mission we saw. I would think if CT and Bert and Emmy can actually like get into a good rhythm, they seem to want to work with each other. But if they can actually work well with each other, they would be a possibly strong duo, physically strong. That is.
And they're both on my team now. So, hey,
And
maybe
that's so unfortunate.
lost a
But
star player and still have a couple left.
my pick was going to be CT and Emmy. I felt like CT is up next to start taking over because I think Emmy is a great competitor. But let's get into our teams. So I'm going to show you all slides of who's remaining on your team. I want you to let me know, and we all can answer for each other. Who do you have the most faith in for the long game? That's the win. Who do you have the most faith in for points, like just gathering points? They might not win, but they can gather you points. And who on your team do you think is next out the door? Let's start with Charles because he has the least amount of pictures. Charles has Emmy, Emmanuel, CT, Priscilla, and Amber B. I think a lot of heavy hitters. Y'all know how I am on StreamYard. We a work in progress.
Amber couldn't get
Charles,
a picture.
Amber didn't start with it when they did the cast photos, so I don't have her picture.
Okay.
So
I think
who do you have the most faith in for the long game?
Oh, CT for sure. Like CT put a crown on him, baby. Put a crown on it. Then there are 3 rookies. So yikes. But I think out of this bunch, the next to go would be Priscilla. Because it's going to be hard for the girls to get rid of Emmy. So, yeah.
Amber B has a target on her back, though. No one likes her.
She does. Well, records show that she's done pretty well in eliminations. So we never know.
Yeah.
We aren't going back there. I wish you all could see my facial expression. We are not going back there. But you didn't answer points. Who do you think will gather you the most points in all categories? Maybe not the final, but points. Is it still CT or do you have someone else?
Are you able to tell me who has the most points out of these people?
As of right now, I want to say it's either Emmy or Manuel.
It's one of those two, and I would pick one of those two. Probably Emmy because she's so emotional.
Yeah,
I could see her getting in some more fights. I could see her winning some more eliminations and winning some dailies with CT. So I could see Emmy, even if she does get taken out closer to the end, her really racking up some points for me.
and the strong points for your team are daily wins and eliminations, as well as my team's. That's where the most of our points are coming from, are the daily wins and elimination wins. Up next is my team. I still have Corey, who I'm just waiting to play the game. I'm waiting for him to play the game. I have Tori, Ed, Ashley, Berna, Kyle, Logan, and Priscilla. I was a little bit shady on my slides, as you can see. That's not Priscilla. Who is that? That's
Bettina.
Bettina.
One that's getting cut off.
Bettina is halfway out the slide, so that means I think she
out
about to go. She's out the door.
Halfway out the door.
I have the most faith as far as long game as winner in Corey. I think if Corey can make a final, he could probably do it depending on who his partner is. I don't even know who his partner is right now because he's invisible on the show. And as far as points are concerned, I think maybe Tori and Berna could rack up some points because they're a little bit feisty and they get in the mix of the flirting and stuff. But
your team is stacked still.
I don't think so. Like they're stacked, but have we seen Kyle since episode 1? Have we seen Logan? Like I haven't seen these people on the show. Kyle, you could barely even know Kyle is on the show.
Yeah, Kyle's very quiet right now. The only thing I'm worried about is Corey seemed to get on everybody's radar after this past week's episode because him and Tori were like egging on the fight between Fessy and Josh, and people seem to like really be upset with them, and especially Devin and Amanda. Devin, who seems to be being the puppet master and being the big brain behind this, the vets and the big brain behind everything. So if I feel like they're all just taking notes of everything that's going on, and then once all the rookies are gone, that's when they're going to be like, okay, well, Corey did this on this day, and Tori did this on this day, and Kyle did this. So whenever we get a shot, we'll throw them in first. So, I mean, I think Corey's a beast. So I don't know if I would trust him to like lose an elimination. I feel like he could win against most people in an elimination, but it's still having that target on your back heading down the line.
Looking at your team, I do see you possibly losing women like back to back because you have Bettina, you have Tori, and you have Ashley, who all to me can go into any elimination and just lose. There's no shade, but just looking at their track records, they don't. Well, I don't know about Bettina, but the other two ladies don't do great in elimination. So
if Bettina goes in, she's out. I have a question. I need to write it down because I'll forget. Because I want to ask it after we look at Drew's team. Okay, let's look at Drew. He has the most people left. He's only lost one person so far. I was a little bit shady on yours too. I pushed Jeremiah out because I think he's invisible. But you have Jeremiah, and then of course I linked up Casey and Nani. You have Nelson, Huey, who I love, Amanda, Nelson. I said Nelson. Who's this? Devin, Josh, and Big T. And I put Big T right next to you because I know how much you love Big T. So who do you have faith in on the long game on your team?
I would have to say I'm going to pick two people, and I'm going to say Devin and Casey. Devin seems to be on nobody's radar, but he's giving a lot of advice on the game. Like people are just coming to him. He seems to be the one that's like helping Josh out and doing all this other stuff. Casey is a strong competitor. She just won. Despite Fessy leaving the game, I would make an argument that Fessy leaving actually could potentially help her game. More on that on Tiny Table Talk tomorrow. But I just feel like out of picking one man and one woman, those two I have the most faith in at this point. Everybody else is a big question mark to me.
Not Nelson? I would see Nelson lasting the longest, so maybe he would get more points. I don't know.
He's been everybody's been pretty quiet at this point besides Josh and Fessy and Casey, but I do believe in Nelson. I just want to see him actually jump into the game. I mean, it seemed like he was coming in, he was getting ready to play the game. Fessy's gone. That's pretty much his storyline for revenge. He's been checking up with Berna. That's all he's been doing in the background. And he's not winning any dailies. So it's like he could stay out of eliminations, or I think he could have a good shot at winning against many people in eliminations. So I do agree that maybe he could go far, but it just, I don't know. I'm not getting the feeling that he's really in the game this season. Unless
someone sets it up for him and Corey to go in against each other. That's the only way I see one of them to leave the game. But I want to get to this question because I don't want to forget. Now that we're okay, let's just jump to the end of this episode. Berna and Huey are the new rookie team of the season after the end of this episode.
Yes.
So, off of just statistics of how they've been doing this, they should go into the next elimination. Don't you think it's now time in the game for the vets to start taking shots at people they don't want to see in the final and leave some of these layup rookies for if they end up having to go into an elimination? Like, isn't it time to start taking shots, or should we continue on the rookie path?
I'll start this off. They shouldn't have been doing the rookie path. I think they should have been trying to gather up the rookies and then taking out the big guns. Charles mentioned put crown on CT's head in the middle of his portfolio because you got rid of Kells early on just because he could have gathered all the rookies together. So you threw him out, and then Fessy just left. Who else is there left to take out CT? And CT is such a well-rounded player. Even if it is a puzzle, it's not a guarantee that he would leave just because he's physical. He's now stronger. It's tougher to see a path that he's going to be leaving anytime soon. And then on top of that, he seems to be in this like vet alliance, but also a sub alliance from this past week's episode where we saw Emmy sign with Hot Sauce on a cutting board. And it seemed like Kyle, Devin, Ed, Tori, and CT were all in that alliance. So to me, it's like CT has all the friends right now. They shouldn't be doing this. They should have been gathering numbers with these rookies who are very naive, gathering them, bringing them underneath their wing. They'll do anything that you tell them. And you could have had like a drove, an army going down to the wire, because who you want to see farther into this game, into the finals. You don't want to run against other vets who have been to the finals. You want to run against people that have no idea what they're getting into with these finals, or having to eat pig snout or drink a pint of blood or whatever. I think it's going to be biting people in the butt once they get to the finals and they're having to run against vets who are tough to beat, thinking I should have used my social skills and political skills to get rookies kind of thing.
Yeah, I think right now, the person that thinks they have the most power would be Josh. Like, he thinks he's really, like, I guess, running the game socially. Like, he thinks he has it in the bag. But I feel that Josh will go into an elimination probably with a rookie, maybe an Ed, and he's going home.
He's losing.
Ed is going to send Josh home, and it's going to be closer towards the end. To be honest, I could see Ed in the final. I could see Ed beating these vets in an elimination, because Ed is smart and Ed is scrappy. He's like Derek, old school Derek. He could go in there with these bigger guys and might hall brawl some of them.
And he's fearless too.
Yeah,
like he doesn't care about going in. He was doing good. Yeah. This past week's episode, he was actually very sound. He was like in the middle of the fight. He was laughing. He was consoling Amber. He was in the room when the vets were making the Emmy do the alliance thing. And then in the deliberation, he was like, hey, why don't we just vote in Esther? And kind of started the ball rolling on that. And Devin said, I agree. So it seems like he's like wiggling his way deeper into what the vets have, which is very impressive for somebody who came in like episode 2, I believe, episode 1. I mean, he came in late to the game and he seems to be doing well. So I'm very surprised.
I see him in the final. Me personally, I see Ed there. Unfortunately, I don't see Emmanuel there, even though he's on my team. I want him to do well so bad, but I know that the guys are going to catch on to him. Well, they already noticed him from the beginning. And they're going to throw him in back to back to back like Jay eventually.
Eventually.
So,
yeah. So. I just think someone on the vet side, maybe an Ashley and Amanda, need to wake up and say, we can't beat Tori, Casey. We need to start, like, even though
Emmy.
But Emmy is still a rookie. Like, I want the vets to start taking their shots because, oh, this is a bore. And I pray there's a purge coming up soon where like 6 people go home like that, because it's just it's a slow burn, and I'm ready for somebody to switch it up. And I feel like now's the time. Like, save some of these rookies for yourself and let's start taking shots. At least, hell, throw Amber B back in there. At least that's exciting. She's a vet, a champ. Throw her back in there.
MTV is in trouble. The Survivor just started. So the way the challenge is right now, it's not gripping. It's not must-see TV right now. So the fact that you have like the #1 competitive reality show in history coming back in the middle of your season, you are screwed. Girl, if we're not snatching our wigs back from excitement, then you're not going to keep us, because people are going to go watch Survivor.
And that's the thing, is like it's #1 on multiple demographics, like from 7 to 97 watches the challenge, or probably the Survivor. It's getting millions, it's pulling millions, and also it's been away for so long, like 16 months or something. Like, this is where people are like, I'm ready to go. And this season is like, we're gonna go fast. So people are gonna be like, well, I gotta hold on to my seats while I'm watching this season. But we'll get into that one next hour.
Let's get into some of that, because I'm looking at my notes, and I mean, you all let me know in the chat, and you guys let me know as well. Do we want to go through episodes 4 through 7, or do we want to jump into the fun stuff about the challenge? Because I really don't have anything about the episodes I really care.
Highlight it. Let's talk highlights.
Okay, let's talk highlights. Up first, let's talk about what do we call them? Daily challenges. Episode 4 was some kind of knockout challenge where you slide across the board over the water. That was extremely boring. Then we got a fun.
I said highlights.
I'm not finished. I'm just going through them. Then we're going to go through the questions. Then we had a fun obstacle course with a puzzle at the end. And I love the physical ones. I love that obstacle course. This is the one where Anissa hurt her shoulder and had to leave. And then episode 6, which was a 2-parter. Did I call it? I said counting on donuts. I think that's because they had to count pictures while they were doing donuts in a car. So of those dailies, which one was your favorite and why?
Oh, the obstacle course, by far. The obstacle course gave me dimensions, it gave me layers, it gave me CrossFit games, and I love me some CrossFit games. It gave me all of that. And the fact that you and your partner had to do individual tasks, and then you had to
come together,
depend on their math too, to then come in with the correct numbers. I loved it. No one person could carry a team in that situation. So I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
DT carried the puzzle though. He beasted the puzzle, as we all thought he would.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It was a daily challenge that was back to like Total Madness episode 1, where it had everything. It had physicality, it had mental math, it had endurance, it had everything to test you out. Like, they were really trying to like put them through the gauntlet to really see like, okay, how do you and your partner work? How do you work individually? And I think it exposed some people not working well with each other. Some did really well with each other, and it actually tested some ability and their strengths and weaknesses. The turning agents where they did donuts, I mean, that's not doing anything but communication and eyesight. Like, that wasn't anything. And then the undercover comms was just weird. That was just testing social skills in the game and who already had relationships in the game. We want to see them do something and test their abilities and test their skills on something that they might see later on in the game. Like, they might, if they make it to a finals, they're going to have to do some obstacle course. They're going to have to do some math. They're going to have to do some puzzles. We want to see more of that. We want to see them actually do something instead of just sitting on a hood of a car.
Right. because like back in the day when they used to have to jump from car to car to car, the fun of it was to see who was gonna fall. Like, is anybody gonna fall off? But they are not gonna let anybody fall off doing donuts like that. So it was like, okay, this is just counting pictures. But in the past few episodes, we saw a lot of hookups. Let's go through it real quick. And then you guys tell me so far who is your favorite hookup slash couple. We have Nani and KC. They had a great date, one of those episodes. Michelle and Manuel, but that was short lived because Michelle is at home. Nelson and Burnham plus Ashley. That was just a little shade. Jeremiah and Amber B, Fessy and Amanda, Logan and Big T, which they don't seem to show them too much anymore. And Josh and Esther. Who's your favorite couple so far?
Is there an E for none of the above?
No, you have to pick one. You have to pick one.
I liked seeing Big T happy. I liked seeing Big T smile about having somebody to flirt with, because why the other girls get the flirts? Why Amber B get to have a man, a new man? Give her a little piece. So I liked it. I thought it was
And
cute.
Big T got the finest man, if you ask me.
I agree.
like Logan. He is very handsome.
Sure. But I don't know. I think the finest man went home episode 1, but that's just my taste.
Rudolph says a snooze on all of them. Who do you have, Drew?
I would say E.
I would agree with Charles that it's Big T and Logan. Especially after Big T's storyline of not having anybody there for her or playing the game with her. The vets aren't really seeing her as an asset, and she's not with the rookies because they view her as a vet kind of thing. So I was happy to see a different side of Big T that we haven't seen already on the challenge, that she hasn't brought into the challenge just yet. Everybody else is fine, but they've all just either went home or has faded into the background. These 2 weeks have been terrible for establishing any other character besides Emmy and then Josh and Fessy's whole thing. Like, everybody else is just faded into the background. Like you were talking about with Kyle, he had like 2 funny confessionals and then just faded into the background. And it's like, even Devin's not being featured, and they're 2 of like the confessional people that they brought in to be gold. And it's just, I don't know, something's got to change. Like, please, gosh, like when we go back to an hour and a half, which is next week, it's like ridiculous. Yeah,
it's too many people, but I would have picked Casey and Nani just because I think they are the realest couple, and I like their little date. It was cute. Let's talk about the eliminations. On episode 4, we had a handcuff me to the rope pipe maze. I don't know what it was actually called. That's what I called it. And it was Michelle and Coriel versus Huey and Amber B. Episode 5, we had ropes and card matching. That's when they had to climb up a rope and kind of match your cards from the top to the bottom, which was Logan versus Gabo. And then we just saw Hall Brawl, which was Esther versus Emmy. Out of those eliminations, which one did you like the best?
I guess the pipe one. I think that was the most exciting one because they were arguing. There was beef there. It was like suspenseful. I don't know.
Let's talk about the beef. Do you think people in like communities should have each other's back? Like, I think Huey was more upset because they were the 2 gay men on the show, and Coriel called him weak. It's like, I want to go in against you. And it's kind of the same as, do we think all the Black people should stay together? And, people who are in the like communities, should they have some kind of loyalty? Or was Huey beefing because he was just upset he got caught the weakest one?
See, the camera never showed them talking prior to.
Right.
So if there was a LGBT alliance beforehand, we didn't see it on camera. So that shouldn't even matter. If I call you out because I genuinely think you're the weakest one in the room, it doesn't matter if you're brown, purple, blue, gay, straight, trans.
But
No
that was
matter.
Huey's word. He was like, "We were the two gay men here. You should
But
have had my
Huey,
back."
that's just Huey crying because he's the one being called out. No, you can't say, "Oh, you called me out." Well, I'm black. You shouldn't want to go against me. Like, I think that's whack. I think that's whack.
I 100% agree. I feel like it shouldn't matter if you're in a light community. I'm trying to win this $1 million, and if I view you as the weakest, that's who I want.
Right. You're
And
just
then
weakest.
Huey did what was supposed to be done. He went into the elimination. He showed out. And he showed I'm not the weakest. I just beasted this, and
He
it is
literally
what it is.
dragged Amber. He drug Amber through that competition. Literally took her and drug her like a backpack throughout that whole maze. So,
Yeah, Huey is a firecracker because he ran up in Coriel's face and was like, I forgot he was cursing at him, and Coriel pushed him, and TJ had to say no hands, but that was a great elimination. It was entertaining.
that's when the world would have seen Charles Warren go home like CT went home back in the day. Because when I tell you, we would have been scrapping. Like I would have just been beating him up because it wouldn't have been much of a fight. I would have just been beating him up in front of everybody in the sand, and it would have been like, we don't do that here on the challenge. That would have been the speech.
I agree, but I feel like in life there are some things that are natural reactions where if someone is running up on you, hostile, cursing you out, your natural reaction is to push them back. Now, some people will throw hands, but
Right.
it's natural to push somebody back. Just like when Esther threw that drink in Amber B's face, people's natural reaction is like, okay, she trying to blind me from a fight. Let's start swinging. And for Amber B not to start swinging, I felt like that was very good self-control. But some things I feel like you can't do to people and then penalize the other person for reacting.
Yeah, the way what did TJ say to Corey L? I was like, that's whack.
He was like, we don't put hands on people or something.
He came at Corey L with so much heat. He was like, and we never put our hands on anybody. I was like, dude, the security guards weren't moving. They were on break. And Huey, and he didn't even it was just like a shove. Like he wasn't like in his face or like grabbed him and then threw him. It was like, dude, like seriously, like that's just like Angie said, that's your natural reaction of just like get out of my face. Like the dude's that's not social distancing. Like get out of your face.
Personal
like
space,
ridiculous.
Personal space.
Yeah, I thought that was bull crap so much.
Charles, I know you say you didn't watch, but Drew.
She just called me out.
Well, you wouldn't know the answer. You wouldn't know the answer.
Did y'all catch that in the comments? She just called me out on the sneak tip. Charles didn't just watch his last episode.
You wouldn't know the answer, but when TJ came to the house this past episode last night, how close were you to thinking Fessy was getting ready to slide? Because once he let Esther slide, he was like, "This is your warning." I was like, nobody getting ready to go home. Did you think TJ was going to give Fessy a pass? We know he didn't, but did you think?
No, I didn't think at all that he was going to get let it slide. I mean, I watched that aftermath like because they put it out at midnight my time. Like I watched it like a couple of hours ago instead of watching it right when the episode ends, and Amanda's over there going like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. We were hanging out in the backyard and I couldn't believe that TJ sent Fessy home. It was like, did you not know what happened in Dirty 30? Like, it's only fair. You can call the rule soft, you can call the rule weak or bad rule or for the challenge, but I mean, they shown it in the past that when somebody puts their hands in somebody's face, it's over. You're done. Like, it's just because it was Josh, just because they were friends and they made up and stuff. It doesn't negate that was that behavior and they're not going to go. So, I mean, the only thing is that Josh seems to get away with a lot more. Like, he has pushed Devin down. He has gotten in people's faces, and I don't know if it's because they view him as like a PG drama. Like, if CT gets in somebody's face, they're going to be red alert because of his past. But when Josh gets in people's faces, they're just like, oh, well, He's just
They know
loud.
he's not
You don't
going
have
to
to
do
worry about it.
anything.
So,
yeah.
Right.
but I
He's
didn't.
not about that life.
There's no way that he was going to get a pass, though. There was no way. When he makes that trek there, he would have said something at the next daily or something else. Like, he wouldn't have made a house call just to give everybody warnings, I feel.
But to me, throwing a drink is not equal. Because to me, like, all these housewives shows, Atlanta, whatever, they throw drinks across the table on every season. So it's to me that's not
throwing
considered
a drink
fighting.
is assault. That is assault. You have assaulted me with a drink, and my natural reaction, because
I don't
when
think
people,
that's assault.
No, Charles, when people throw drinks in your face, that's the start of a fight because you're trying to blind my vision and you're going to start swinging. So you have to just start windmilling because you can't see. No, I'm serious. Throwing a drink is assault. And you cannot do that. That's like saying, well, I just threw a brick at you. No, that's assault.
No.
Just because one is water.
Water and a brick are not the same, baby. If I bust you in the head with a brick,
no,
it's not the same
thing
as throwing some water.
A brick at you.
Let's grab some Mythbusters.
You can't throw things at people.
Right.
You cannot throw things at people. But let's lead with another question.
Just one more thing. This is another precedent set by none other than Josh, because last season he threw like 1 or 2 drinks at Kyle. He threw water. He even threw water in, I think, in this episode too, at Fessy. After he pushed his face, he threw something at Fessy. So I mean, that's another thing. It's like he does this stuff, but I don't know. It's just, I don't think Josh has anything bad about it, but it's just like, it's still hold everybody to the same standards. I mean, just because Josh is viewed as not being super like physical or going to do anything bad about it, he's still doing the stuff that people are getting warnings with.
I agree. And the same thing, if it was an alcoholic drink and that get in your eye, that's gonna burn. But let's move on from the drink. I have a question about a double standard. And even though Fessy is gone, it doesn't matter, but I just still want to ask it. Now, you remember back when Tori wanted to get her revenge on Big T, and everyone was like, oh, if Tori breaks the vet alliance, she's the first one going into elimination because she broke the vet alliance. When Fessy actually broke the vet alliance, he was in there explaining like, well, Amber, I'm not close to her. And everyone was understanding. It was like, cool. All right. Why does Fessy get a pass, but Tori was going to be thrown in if she would have got her revenge on Big T?
Because nobody apparently likes Amber. And I think he's so tight with all the women in the house. Like, to think about who he's the closest with. He's closest with Tori, Casey, then Nani, and Amanda. And all those people, their games rest on getting out the better players. And Amber just won last season. So if she's new, she won, and she doesn't have close ties with anybody, let's just get her out. They view her as a big threat. And so Fessy taking a shot, they don't care. They're like, sure, get her out. She's a big threat.
We know who Amber is because we've seen her even before the challenge. We saw her on Big Brother. Most of these girls don't know her like that, and they really don't care for her because of the way she acts and talks around the house. So,
well, this person was, I'm sorry if I can't see her name. I have my contacts on today and I can't hardly see the chat. It's kind of small. She wants to talk about the Amber hate train. And I do too, because when I watch the challenge, I don't hate Amber. And I just don't understand why. Is it that she was because Cam didn't win. Ashley was a rookie who won. We've had a lot of rookies who have won, and they don't get the hate. I don't understand why everybody hates Amber.
It's not about
so
her
what
winning.
Is it?
They say it every time a woman gets up there and talks about
her.
They
just call her fake.
And they explain why. Every woman that said that she gets on their nerves, they tell you it's because in every conversation she talks about being blindsided. That gets annoying for somebody to keep going from room to room, outside, at the club with Devin talking about it. She talks about it at the pool. She keeps talking about being blindsided. And the girls are tired of it. It's like, okay, you want sympathy. You're like, that's like fishing for compliments. That is annoying. We're tired of you talking about it. You went in elimination. Woo-hoo.
And you won, so
get over it. Move
drop
on.
it. But that's the same thing I was saying about Cam last season. Like, Cam, you win elimination. You won, but you still talking about Jay and Teresa. But you all thought I was wrong for telling Cam to get over it.
I don't even
You don't remember
that. Right now. I don't remember that.
I just remember because I do like Esther on the aftermath. Esther did call out Casey and Amber B. Esther let it be known that, Amber, you knew you were going into elimination, and if you didn't know, your partner knew, and he should have told you. So I kind of do believe Amber B wasn't completely blindsided.
But
I do kind of believe that.
When you watch that episode where all the girls are going back to back to back in their confessionals about her, everybody, including Big T, and Big T is like the sweetest girl there. Big T says she is tired of Amber B because she keeps talking about being blindsided. We can't keep saying, "Oh, well, we don't see it on the screen as much. We're not in the house." So these girls obviously hear something. Big T said it's too much, so it's too much.
I don't know. To me, it's coming off a little petty in my taste, because we're in a game, we're in a house. This is all we're doing all day. There's nothing else to do. What else is happening? All these vets just want to be in their own little world. So when Amber's coming in going like, hey, I was blindsided, or talking, it doesn't even matter if she's talking about the blind side anymore. It's just like whatever they do, whatever she does, they're going to talk about it. I mean, Berna and Esther were in the club in the corner talking about her when she was doing nothing but dancing. Like, she could, just her very existence in the house has everybody pressed to be like, ugh, she's here again. And it's just like, I'm not here for it. Like, either walk away from her, but they're talking about her nonstop. I don't know what would have happened in this season if Amber didn't just pop in as a replacement, because she's making everybody either talk about her, or the Fessy drama with her has capitulated the whole thing.
And I still, for the life of me, and I know we've talked about this, and I still can't wrap my head around why Fessy even dislikes Amber, when I think Fessy was the one who done Amber wrong last season. I still call it hateration. I think everyone hates Amber for winning. And she's a target now. I think they aren't going to let it go until she goes home. They aren't going to let it go until Amber goes home.
Fessy feels disrespected, or he still feels in his feelings from being left in that volcano, because he was the one that jumped when TJ came to the house and was like, I want to go, I'm going to do everything. And then he gets chained up into the bottom of a volcano or something, and Amber never came for him. And he takes that as a sign of disrespect, or he's like, oh, she can't do math. Even though he could do math and she can run. And that's like, I don't know. It was just, it's a dumb strategy. It's a dumb thing to think about when you're actually thinking about winning $1 million.
I don't know. I don't think it's hard to wrap the head around, because every girl told us what she was doing and why she was getting on their nerves, whether we accept it or not. Hey,
where's all the men? Where's all the men's confessionals talking about how they want to get her out? That's what I want to know. If she's a bother to everybody in the house, why aren't we getting multiple confessionals from both parties?
Because
why is it all the women? Yeah, why is all the women being all the ones being shown being like, I don't like Amber. Amber's fake. This is what Berna doing that face.
Maybe the men aren't so bothered by it because they just, oh, she's pretty. Let's look at her. I don't know.
I mean, I look back to those faces in this past week's episode, and there's one point where Amber's like, don't throw that drink on me. How could you disrespect me? And then she goes, you're a woman. I'm a woman. And Berna does like this face, like when she says that, I was like, what do you have to be here for? Like, Esther, and this is an A and B conversation. Why are you over here doing faces? Like, goodbye.
Well, I don't get it. The only thing Amber B can do this season is win. Like, she has a target on her back. A lot of the girls don't like her. She just has to go in there and win. Because she's definitely going to be, when the vets are over the rookie thing, she's the first one to go back in there. I had another point before I wanted to get into the fun games. I got this off of Twitter. They said I know this isn't true, but they said Corey was instigating that fight between Josh and Fessy, like he went to go grab Josh as a way to get karma to Fessy for what he did to Nelson the other season. Now I know Corey wasn't trying to be like, oh, the only way we can get Fessy out is to get him to hit Josh. But that does seem like some karma. What do you all think? And this is the other question. You watched the aftermath, Drew. Corey said he can't control Josh. Yeah, he went to go get Josh, but Josh is a grown ass man. He didn't have to come in there on level 20 with his best friend Fessy. Do you think Tori and Corey should have apologized for instigating that fight?
So Devin wants to bring up that Fessy and Josh, they're looked at as a pair. They're strong in this Big Brother alliance, so they had a target on them, and Corey wanted to pit them against each other. I don't know how much I believe that. I just think that they were bored. They maybe were a little tipsy after they spent all their drink coupons to get drinks at the club, and they just wanted something to do in that moment. So I don't know if it was like a full-fledged thought out plan. I mean, he's saying that him going rogue like 8 times last year was a plan when it was just his partner keep on getting thrown in. I honestly don't think that they should have apologized. This is part of the game. We've been having instigations in this game for forever. I am talking about some pot stirring moments in tomorrow's Tiny Table Talk, and it's like, that's just part of the game. It's how you roll. Devin was funny to me. It was ironic that he was sitting there going like, I can't believe they would instigate or do all this stuff when he's instigates so much during the seasons. Like, it's ridiculous. Gold medalist, you went like Michael Phelps in that division in instigating. So I just feel like if it benefits you, you're fine with it. But if it goes up against something like Devin's Josh's buddy and stuff, then you're frustrated with it. So I don't know. I just don't think they should have apologized. Like, who cares? Like, they are grown men. I mean, Corey, I thought it was ironic that Corey was talking about how an argument about pizza would get somebody sent home when he was sent home over pasta. So it's just like, come on now.
What do you think, Charles?
I think I'm actually glad that you circled back around and brought up this incident, because that moment where we see the cast members on camera talking about how boring this show is and we need to make some drama told me that this season is Fucked. It's
I'm like, what is that?
This to me, that was literally the point in the season where I said, "Oh crap, this is going to be trash for the rest of this ride. It's going to be trash." If you literally have your cast on camera trying to prevent this show from being boring out loud, and you put it on TV.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You don't have anything here to work with.
That was bad. That was a poor editing skill.
They already know, like, we already have this system, rookie, like, until maybe episode 13, 14, 15, when there's nothing but vets left, do we have to start amping it up and going after each other? Like, yeah, they know it's boring. No one wants to see it. But I agree with, I apologize. Y'all know I got my glasses on. Val, I agree. Corey and Tori have nothing to apologize for. They are grown men. And it's about time for Josh to prove himself as a competitor and stop being the buffoon of the show. Like, every season, someone can rile Josh up. Like, Devin was just doing it last season with 2+2 or 3+3, whatever it was. People can easily, whatever the math equation was. But it's time for Josh to take a look at himself and say, okay, I don't want to be the fool of the show. Let me try to win, because he's coming in second and third a lot. So obviously he's good at the dailies. I feel like this is a season where you don't need a skull This is a perfect season for Josh not to even have to go into an elimination and skate to a final. So let's concentrate on that, Josh. Let's concentrate on that and leave the petty stuff alone.
The cast knows that Josh is weak in one-on-one competition.
Is he? It seems like he's coming back stronger and stronger. Like he's coming in second and third in a lot of these dailies.
You're talking about team challenges where it's a bunch of people on the field. I'm talking about one-on-one competitions. Josh is trash. Josh has won one time out of how many seasons has he been on? He's won one elimination.
But go ahead.
I think the cast knows that about Josh. Therefore, they literally see Josh as like a non-factor.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of the guys see Josh as a non-factor. And when we want to take him out, we can take him out. At any point when it comes middle, end, beginning, I think they see him as non-threatening when it comes to eliminations. And I agree.
Well, then, and to Angie's point and to Charles's point, this would be the perfect season to bring him to the finals. Let him get to the finals, because if you don't think he can win those finals or you view him as weak, that's who you want to be running the final against. You don't want to be running against Kyle, who's come in second in a final before. You don't want to run against CT, who's won multiple times. Devin has the right mentality going like, I want to run a final against Josh because that's my best opportunity to win. So you have to band together to try to get to the finals together. You just also have to have the other people around you less than, so that way you two can do something. So it's tough.
They're definitely like Ozzy and Big D of the season. So, like, if we can get the two flunkies to the final two, woo to the franchise, but boo to the season.
Not Ozzy and Big D. Okay, let's have some fun questions. I will admit that I stole majority of these questions from Drew's video of the ratings plummeting. I watched that video and I was like, I really enjoyed it, Drew, and I got a lot of great ideas for some fun questions. So let's start. What did I say? The problem with the current season is they don't allow us to fall in love with the rookies. I believe you said that, Drew. They don't bring them back. Like, they get a huge group of rookies and then they ship them off and say, okay, who's another set of rookies we can bring in? So the question I have to you all, name 5 or so rookies from this season that you want to see back, that you want us to fall in love with on recurring seasons of the challenge. I'll start so you all can think. Of course, because I wrote my answers down, so I'll let you guys think. Of course, you all can answer in the chat too. Of course, I want my girl Michaela to come back, and I need Kels to come back because Kels is a beast. I actually love Berna. I think she's entertaining. I like Ed. I think Ed, I agree. Everything you said about Ed Charles, I love. He's like a little Derek and just energetic, someone everyone in the house loves. And of course, Tatcha. And then I threw in Esther, Coriel, and Huey because I like them too.
Drew,
who do you all have?
I definitely want to see Michaela back. I think we were robbed from not to get to see more of her. I really like Kels a lot. I mean, just for the small glimpse that we got in the episode right before he left, I thought he could have had great potential. And given the right cast and the right opportunity, I think he could go very far, especially if he can get his social game to where he could like actually move and maneuver in the season. I think he showed promise there. Ed has been coming on strong this season for sure. I would definitely say Tatcha. And I think Corey L would be a great one to bring back. He seems to be in love with the challenge. He seems to be very willing to just want to come back and do whatever it takes. So definitely him. And I'll throw in an extra with Michelle. I just really like the Survivor players, and I would like to see more of them come on. I think they add more to the show than what we've gotten from, say, the Big Brother. I think they bring in a lot of the drama heavy, but I would like more of what the Survivor players can bring to the game.
I feel you. I actually agree with a lot of your picks. We have some similar. The one that we all have is Ed. I think Ed, to me, is my favorite rookie of this season. I think long term, I could see him becoming like a franchise player type personality. So I love Ed. I love Esther. I want to see Esther back. She doesn't hold her tongue. She's great in her confessionals. She's good at competitions. Bring Esther back. Emmanuel, I want to see him more. Logan, want to see him more. And one last person. I love me some Michaela. But I feel like
how is she not first?
I feel like Michaela is probably one of the worst social players in the history of competition reality shows. So I don't know if she will be coming back and continuously getting like the short end of the stick. So I don't really know if I want her to really come back. Not Emmy. Please don't bring Emmy back.
There you go.
Not interested in Tatcha. Corey L. Yeah, bring him back. I think he was interesting. And he's also engaging on Twitter. So
he's very engaging on Twitter.
Maybe flip back and forth between Corey and Corey L coming in, so we don't have to keep on saying Corey and Corey L.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
I agree. I don't know about the other Corey because they said he wasn't coming to the reunion because he didn't want to be vaccinated, and if they require them to be vaccinated to be a cast member, it might just be Corey L if he's refusing. But that has nothing to do with nothing. Did you all see the Instagram picture of Michaela and Corey L training with Pauly and Cara?
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, I like half of those. I like half of the picture.
I love Pauly and Cara.
I don't like Pauly. No. Gross.
Someone gave a special shout out to Gabo. I forgot about Gabo. There you go. They said Huey is getting in trouble on Twitter. I have no idea what Huey is doing on Twitter. We can discuss that later because I don't want to go down a racism
just saw that
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But he being racist? What?
We don't want to go down a racism rabbit hole. We'll discuss that later because I don't want to get upset. We're having fun with the games.
He's going to probably be a one and done. He's not going to be a rookie to get invested in.
Okay. I will accept that.
Yeah.
Number 2. Name 2 or 3 vets. Let's do 3 for fun. It doesn't have to be from this season, but just 3 vets we want to go ahead and just retire or move over to All Stars.
Oh my gosh. How long can my list be? You said 3? Okay.
I said 3, but you can name more. I'm going to go first just because I have mine already written down. I said Anissa because Anissa, I feel like, girl, you're going to hurt yourself. Just go over there with your age group on All Stars. Sorry, Drew. I said Big T. I don't think she's a competitor. I don't see it for Big T. And then I wrote down Josh, but after I just gave that monologue about Josh focusing on competitions, if Josh could be competition strategy focused, I won't mind him. But if Josh is just going to have these antics of blow-ups every season, Josh can retire too. So who do you got?
I mean, I would like to split up the Big Brother. I don't know if we should necessarily retire anybody, but they've been able to play as a threesome for like three seasons in a row, and they've been able to hold on constantly. Like, I know JEK Alliance got to play a lot of seasons together, but they were split up in here and there. Like, Kenny played 1 season by himself in Fresh Meat 2. Then there was only Evan and Kenny in the duel at a certain point. I mean, we need to see them be able to rely on other people and not each other. And I think that's what benefits them with Fessy gone now. I would like to see maybe Fessy on a season by himself. because I think he leans so heavy on Casey and Josh and their social standings within the group that he's just a +1 to both of them, when really I want to see what they can do away from all the numbers that they have. I think Anissa, she's going to get that ticket because of the podcast, but I do think that maybe she should stick with All-Stars, and maybe not every single All-Star season. I would suggest maybe like every other season, so they can bring in some other, because there's so many OGs that we want to see. So I would venture to say maybe Josh has one more season, and I really want to see what he could do. But I mean, if he's not going to put rubber to the road, it's kind of like, what's the point kind of thing. I don't know. I don't want to be mean, but that's how I feel.
Well, I agree with what you said about breaking up the Big Brother Alliance. They've done that to vets in the past, where they'll bring on one, and that's the part of the game. Can you pull it off with a new alliance with a new set of people? And I would love to see if Fessy and or Casey could do that. I feel like Casey and Josh could still go on this season, but I would like to see them start a season with like Casey only. And what can Casey do?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think she's social enough to do anything. But the question, someone asked what was the question? The question is, who do we want to retire or sit out for a few seasons?
Yeah, sorry, I went down a winding road.
I mean, I called you Josh. Who do you have, Charles?
Okay, so the people that I would like to not see on the show again. First and foremost, it would be Nany. Nany, to me, should never be invited to another season of the challenge. Congratulations on her run. I think Anissa as well. Anissa should be moving over to All-Stars, like you said, Angie. I think that's a great thing. I want to see her with Veronica and Rachel. Give me that trio over on All-Stars. Please stop bringing back Ashley and Amanda. Those are two people I don't want to see on my TV anymore. If you're going to give me Corey, don't give me Nelson. I only want one of the two. I don't need both of them on the same season all the time. I'm ready. So either Corey or Nelson. I prefer you bring back Corey and keep Nelson at the house with Ashley. Please don't bring Wes back. I don't ever want to see Wes come back on the show. When he's on the show, it just seems to always be about him.
I mean, you might...
Kyle. I don't want to see Kyle on the show anymore.
Whoa.
Either. To me, Kyle is there just to be Cooney, just like Josh. Josh and Kyle are both there just to do confessionals, make drama, and yeah, I'm not interested.
You took some heavy hitters. You took some heavy hitters on your list.
So I can run it back for you. I said Nany, Anissa, Ashley, Amanda, Kyle, Wes, and Nelson. So the core of this season, I don't want to see them back again.
I wouldn't say I don't want to see them back again, but a lot of those names, the majority of those names can take a couple of seasons of a break. I think that's why we love Cam so much. Like, she doesn't come every season, and it's like, okay, Cam has to do 38 because I'm missing Cam, and she has to come back. So I think some people could take a break. I'm very sure my next question, I'm going to have probably the most unpopular answers. But since we want to see who is out, who we want as a vet, we want to see them come back. We want to see them play again. You can name 2 or 3 or however many you have on your list. I named Pauly. I love Pauly.
My gosh.
I do. I've always liked Pauly since Big Brother.
It's a visceral reaction.
Not that being the first name.
I like spicy. I like spicy, and I like people who want to take a risk and not just go with the flow of the game. And since we have to bring back Pauly, you know you got to bring back his girlfriend, Cara. And then I love Jose. If we're going to bring back All-Stars, Big Brother players, let's bring back Jose. And then I said on the female side, I want to see Jenny in Georgia. I want to see some strong females. It seems like all we have are legs.
No.
I want to see some strong females in these competitions.
Did you say Jimmy? Jimmy that was on
Jenny.
All Star?
Jenny, the
Oh, the
big swole
muscle. The
girl,
muscle.
Jenny.
Okay. Okay.
Jenny in
I'm okay with
Georgia.
that. I'm okay with her.
Oh, and I said, of course, Cam. I wrote that last. And of course, Cam. But I know Cam will eventually be back. So in the chat, if you want to play along, who do you want to see back on the challenge? Which one of you gentlemen want to go first?
I mean, I guess we could just throw out names because there's so many vets that they don't bring back.
I want Theo to come back.
Yes.
Can Theo
100%.
play with one eye?
I think he got tested and the doctor cleared him, but then the pandemic happened and he wasn't able to come back in time, like for Total Madness, and then he had a kid. So so I didn't think he wanted to come back so quickly after that, but I think he was cleared to come back. So I'm 100% wanting Theo to come back. For
Theo's
sure.
on my list too. Okay, who else you got?
I want, I love Rachel, but they'll put
it was
her
still
on
Drew's turn.
They'll put her on All Stars.
You know who I really enjoy, and I might be unpopular for this, but I kind of like Kayla. I thought she was good physically, and I thought she was good in like Dirty 30 when she was coming after Cara, and she didn't care. She was making moves when she thought she needed to, and I really liked her. And then she kind of tailed off, and then they never brought her back. But I think she would have been. She's great. Devon as well for me. I would love Devon back in any capacity.
My answers on the screen. Devon, Jordan, I want back. No, we do not want Ruthie back.
I think they're talking about All Stars. I wouldn't mind Ruthie and Tech back over on All Stars. Who else is on your list?
Jenny. I agree with you with Jenny because I would like her to come back. Just because she won and then she never has been back at all. I agree with Natalie from Survivor. I just want more Survivor people, to be for real.
Oh, yes. Natalie from Survivor. I want her back.
Natalie, yes.
I mean, honestly, there's so many people that they could bring back that would be nice and refreshing, I would feel.
That would be better than Nani and Amanda and Kyle. Stop bringing that.
I agree. Somebody said absolutely not, Kayla. I don't mind Kayla. I don't know if Kayla would do it without her friend who just had a baby. What's her name? Forgot.
Jenna. I mean, if Nani's on, then that's two of the Trinity.
Oh, Rachel says she wants to do the real challenge over All Stars.
She's fit.
She says
she's strong still.
That's my girl. If
she want to come do the real challenge, bring her over.
If I had to pick one girl favorite of all time, Rachel is my number one. Always has been my number one.
If she goes to All Stars, she would destroy the whole competition, like everybody on the men's side and the women's side. Like I see her posts on like Instagram and how she works out and stuff, and how she's training Josh. I mean, she's the real thing.
Josh?
Yeah, they both live in Miami, I believe.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Josh is always talking about training. He might be stronger than what people think because of his antics. So I think Josh can do something if he can get there.
Are you all gonna watch the Ed versus Paulie boxing match?
Do we have to pay for it, or does it come on something we already have, like Amazon?
You have to pay for it. It's the same as the Big Brother fight that they had not too long ago.
No. I'm distracted. What was the question? You popping up these answers on the screen. Maybe
the question was who do we want to see back on the challenge? I was just listing names people were saying in the chat.
So Drew, who did you say before these comments came up? Because the comments
we agreed on a lot of them, except I said Kayla at one point.
Oh, you said Kayla. I want Devon back. I want Jordan back. Theo back. I want Natalie back.
Natalie from Survivor.
Yes.
I would take
I like
Joss,
Natalie from
maybe?
Big Brother too. Joss, I like Joss.
I like Joss. I feel like he was kind of like.
I would rather watch him more than his other counterpart that got the actual win. Like, I was upset that
Rogan,
his ex-friend got
Isn't
the
Rogan
win.
like banned?
Oh, they aren't
Yeah, he
friends
is.
anymore. Yeah,
No.
Rogan is banned with D.
He's gone.
But to me, Joss is like just the male version of Casey. They're to me like the same type of person.
Right.
One's
Quiet,
a male and one's a female.
Furniture, but they can perform. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. My last favorite question, and I definitely got this.
Okay.
I definitely got this from Drew.
Oh my gosh!
Some
you
people
know who
are
I
throwing
want
out
to
there,
see
Jay
on a
and Brittany.
challenge?
What?
Wait, some new. If they want to bring a Big Brother person, I would want them to put JC on the challenge.
What?
No.
Little JC,
No.
like four. He's like
Absolutely
4'10".
not.
What?
Put him on the challenge, and I want to see him compete because he's like an athlete on social media.
No.
He like works out and does all the fitness stuff.
No.
Diversify your show.
And he will be banned too. He got in trouble for racist stuff, racist Twitter. He would be banned too.
That would be great because him and Fessy were like Dumb and Dumber on Big Brother.
Right. See, now, Charles, you're going too far. I feel like
bring JC. Bring JC on the challenge.
I thought you were gonna
politically correct world. They're just gonna make fun of him, and that's not gonna be right. No.
It will show inclusion to me if you put somebody with like I don't even want to call it what it technically is, but
a little person.
If you put a little person on the challenge, that's diversity. That's
but it's not going to be fair. He's not going to be able to do the same things because he's shorter.
How you know?
And who's going to want to be his partner?
Why not? That's rude.
It's not going to be fair. I mean, but that's
I would rather.
Okay, let me be quiet before I say something wrong. I just don't think it's
his
fair.
Partner than Huey's partner.
No.
But hey,
I don't want to be either partners, to be fair and honest.
But he's a whole fitness influencer. And you brought up Jose. Jose is too busy on OnlyFans. He's not coming back on the challenge. So
I don't have an OnlyFans, so I don't know. Okay, this is a fun question because I got this from Drew.
You had to put this shady comment on the screen.
Oh, for that. I'm sorry. Okay. So Drew was talking about a fantasy season, like seasons, like new themes for upcoming seasons. Like, what would you want the themes to be? Like Arrivals or another fresh meat, something like that. So, can you think of a fantasy theme, and it is that you would want to see in upcoming challenges? I have 4, and I think they're really good. And then you can name. We already named a lot of people, but you can name a few people that you would think would be great for the theme. This is a repeat, but I love Champs versus Stars. So I would just love to see them do that again. And then how about MTV versus CBS, where we have all of the MTV cast people versus all of like the Big Brother and Survivor people? That would be amazing.
Love Island.
A what?
Love Island people and
Oh, Love Island is on CBS too? Okay, all of them. And then how about a Champs versus Champs, all winners season, or a no layup season where it's Champs versus Threats. Champs versus Threats. We're like no layups. Well, I mean, we're not gonna call it a no layup season. We're gonna call it Champs versus Threats, like people who come in second or third. But those are my those are my ideas for some fantasy seasons. What do you all have?
Losers at war, second place.
I think old school versus new school. I think that would be the ultimate season 40 would be a great turning point, whether it was all champs or old school versus new school. Like, and you would have to define what old school is and what you would define as that. Maybe they would get people at that point. Multiple all-stars would probably have taken place already, and maybe they could bring back some of the all-stars that were on that season on to do the challenge old school versus new school against the people that are on the more recent seasons of the challenge. I think that would be really, really good. I hope it's not like another like Dirty 30 where it's like a Dirty 40 and it's just a terrible Redemption House twist, and they bring in a whole 40 people that like you're questioning why they were brought back on to do this season. I've done a few fantasy cast. I did the Big Brother versus Survivor versus the challenge. I think that would be fun to do, or like an ally season where it's like yeah. I miss three. They've only done 1 3-team season, and I thought it was actually pretty decent with Cutthroat. I thought that was a very underrated season. They only do 2 seasons, which is kind of weird. But I think an ally season would be fun where you're paired up with your best friend. I mean, everybody's on an equal playing field at that point. It's not like you're rivals, but then again, you make rivals for that internal drama of going up against each other. But I just think it would be fun to see what people would actually do on a team where they're friends with each other.
I like that 3-way idea. That sounds a lot, because Big Brother and Survivor kind of hate each other, so making them work together might be too much. So I like that. What do you have, Charles?
I just made this up off the top of my head. What about like a twist of fate type season where it's every man for themselves, every person for themselves, and the person that wins the elimination basically is like the HOH for the next whatever. So it becomes like the loser gets power. Does that make sense?
No. Because then people would just start throwing it to lose. People would lose on purpose.
What? No, you don't get it. So if myself and Drew are in elimination, Drew wins the elimination. Now he has power going into the next elimination on basically picking, I don't know, somebody to go in or whatever. I don't freaking know.
One I will say they could do, and I think they should do it, especially since it's coming on to 2022. They should do like a battle of the shows where it's like 8 teams of 4 people, kind of like how Battle of the Seasons 2012 was, and then Battle of the Seasons season 5 was in 2002. So it's like every 10 seasons there seems to be this like Battle of the Shows. I think that would be fun to do, where it's like Survivor, Big Brother. You could do Old School Challenge, New School Challenge, The Circle, Love Island. I think that could shake up the teams, and since they're bringing in so many people from all around the world and all different shows, they could do that now that they can't do like real world seasons and make it a battle of the seasons. It could be battle of the shows or whatever.
I think this season should have been called Fresh Meat. This should have been a Fresh Meat season. I think that they need to have a season where it's completely up to the viewers on who's casted. Like, that's not even a word. Who's cast? Like, there needs to be like a open vote. Maybe they will give us a pool of like 90 people, and you log in and vote on who you want on the show, to where we choose the cast of the season. To me, that gives me all-star vibes, and I think that would be fun. I think that would be more engaging and more fun than giving us who they want to be on the show. I do like the battle of the shows. I like to see like the CBS versus MTV, like you said, but I don't know if they would call it that.
Paramount Plus
for like copy
fighting,
right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I would like an old school versus new school season, because I don't know many old school players that are like truly in shape. There's maybe like a handful of them that I could think of on top of my head.
I like the idea of voting. If we're gonna have a fresh meet, like have the challenge, do a big pool, make them like do a whole bunch of meetings with them to like whittle down the cast to like 30 contestants of who we get to vote on, and then the top like I don't know 14 that gets the most votes, and throughout like they give them a month, and throughout the time they'll put up videos, they'll put up bios. You can maybe have a Q&A with them, get an idea of what they know about the show. And that to me would engage us to be like, okay, this guy got 50% of the votes. Like that's crazy amount of the votes with whoever came onto the site got 50%. He's going to be the one that everybody's going to be looking at. Or this woman got so much. Like, I think that could be fun. And that gives us a feel like we're in trying to like help the show or be a part of the show in some way. But then they could just fudge the numbers anyways, but it doesn't matter.
Right. A public pool would, to me, be the best choice to picking the cast of the show, because they need to be fired.
I agree.
Casting department.
I like the interactive idea where we can at least pick half of the cast or something, like where at least we feel
whole cast.
they will never let us do the whole cast.
It needs to be the whole cast. They need to care more about who their viewership wants to see compete versus who's gonna coon it up for us in the confessionals. They need to stop doing that.
Also, not switching out. No more switching out your partners, because that's not working out. Like this season, it's like everybody's just like swapping partners, and it doesn't even matter. Like it doesn't even matter who's your partner at certain points.
For me, I don't want to see a partner season in a long time. I would rather see a team season. Like if there's going to be like 3 teams and y'all stick with that team until the end, okay, I'm okay with that. I don't want to see these duos throughout. I don't want to see that no more. That's dry, fried, and over with. So let's move on to something else.
Yeah, I would like to see an individual season where at least it's everybody for themselves within the team.
I like the idea, like going back to fresh meat. I like the idea that every daily challenge was different in some way. Like I think Total Madness got too like predictable on, oh, this is going to be a 5-person team, this is going to be a 3-person team, this is going to be a 1 individual thing. Fresh Meat did a great job at like every single step was something completely different, where it was like half the cast was split up against each other. Oh, this is like 3 people going with each other, or this is 5 people. I thought that they did a great job being able to be individual, but also have variance within the season to make it fun and unpredictable on who your team was going to be.
I agree. But we'll see if they ever watch this video and get any ideas. I don't know. But I think they have to know.
Would y'all like an all rookie season? Can we get a season where there's all new people?
I think they almost tried that with Invasion, where it was like all no champs or anything like that. I think it could work. It's just I don't know how well it would do in the ratings when you bring on people and be like, there's no CT, there's no ability to go see your quote unquote favorites or longtime people because there's no champs or anything on it. So I don't know how well it would work out, but I would like something.
This right here is what I think could help it. The last part, the All-Stars twist, if they brought that into the real challenge where, okay, you could vote me into elimination, but now I have to pick one of you to be my partner and we could both go home, that would add a new dynamic to the real challenge that we've never seen. And I love the All-Star twist so much. But I think that would break up a lot of alliances, because you could be like, okay, I'll go down there, but okay, like they just threw Esther down there. She can be like, okay, well, Josh, you come down here and fight with me. You know, it you could break up some stuff and really make you think about who you're gonna throw in, and not just be rookie.
But I think the challenge, like overall, I think the challenge is too dependent on its attachment to its cast. I think this whole, because just listening to what Drew said made me think of like this large franchise of the challenge should not be dependent on somebody's fave not being on the show. That Survivor would never depend on you not seeing so and so being on the show. You know what I mean? I feel like Survivor brings back old players, but the brand of Survivor we know is above all. It's not about, oh, we only watch this to see Bananas. We only watch this to see Wes. So I think the challenge needs to do some rebranding to where they get their name back and stop making it so much about these returning people.
But with the resume and what the challenge is built upon, it's built upon mainly bringing people back on. Like, they're not known for bringing on just a full new cast every single season like Survivor is. Like, Survivor is almost like reinventing itself every single season, hoping that these cast members will do well. But they have so many people putting in to be on there. The challenge is actually a weird, different show where they have to, like, they bring on so many returning that they have to actually put out the invitations to see who would want to even be on the challenge, which is pretty much everybody. I think it's the main problem is not bringing more people that back, so that way they're not always dependent on like a CT or a Johnny or a Cara, because they've used them so much. Cara, I think, only took 2 seasons off in her 14 season run so far. It's like, why are we having her on that many times? Like, she could have a few seasons off, bring on some new players, because that's always going to be a spot that people are now expecting her to be on, or Johnny to be on. Now Johnny's taken 2 seasons off and people are like, what's going on? We've seen him for 12 seasons straight. It's like, if we would have had more balance and gotten that better rotation, I think people wouldn't be so heavily dependent on seeing their faves or all the time. Like, I think people would have a little bit more wiggle room to be like, I may not see Cam on this, but I can see CT on here, or I don't see CT on here, but Cam's on this one. It's different when you're so dependent on putting the same person on over and over and over again from so far away. But that's what makes the challenge is seeing the arc of the players, rather than Survivor, who's built already the reputation of bringing on so many new players every single season, and they come for the show rather than, and then the people are what makes the season come to life. Whereas it's the opposite for the challenge. It's the cast first, and then it's the season that people watch, it seems.
Yeah, but I think that's a bad business decision for their brand to be dependent on these humans. Because at the end of the day, these humans have so much power when it comes, like, if we're going to talk about CT, the West, the Bananas, the Caras, they have so much power over the challenge brand. If they ever decide to make a union and force them to pay them a certain rate, the challenge would be screwed, because y'all are so dependent on these individual people that you really don't
that's not
have
necessarily
ownership
true
of your brand.
We have no Bananas, West, or Cara this season, and
you got CT, you got Ashley, there's a lot of brand name people on this season.
But
how about
it's almost
all vet season? Like, no rookies then. Everyone has to be a vet 3 or more seasons.
I mean, that would be interesting. I think it's almost symbiotic, almost, though, with, say, I hate to bring it up, but it's like, what's Cara doing outside of the challenge? It seems like she puts up a post about her retirement and people go freaking out because she's saying something about the challenge. And then she goes, oh, just kidding. And it seems like she's doing that to get the eyes of MTV on there and to get herself back on there. It seems like, okay, well, I had some seasons off. Now my name's not being floated around there. Nobody's really talking about me. They're talking about Cam. They're talking about whatever's happening on Spies, Lies, and Allies. They're doing something else. It's like, it's almost symbiotic in a way where it's like, when you're on the challenge, you feel on top of the world, maybe because everybody's talking about you on War of the Worlds 2 and all this other stuff. You're getting a cult name after you. And then once you're gone 2 seasons, it's like, oh, what's going on? Like, and it could eat away at you. I mean, Wes seems like he's doing something completely different. Bananas seems like he's finally getting into podcasts, but I don't know how I haven't listened to fully any of the episodes, but it's like I don't know how much say or gripping he is outside of, say, the challenge stuff. He's still doing something in the challenge realm of doing like a Ringer podcast for it. I don't know how well his NBC show did, but that was on at like midnight after SNL. So I mean, he's not like pulling in ratings, I don't think, at that time. So I think it's one of those things where it's like they're dependent on each other almost. But I feel like at this point, CT could name his price because he's the only one there.
Right.
That's
the fate of all reality stars. Like, no matter where you go, and a lot of reality stars get hit with that. Like, oh, I'm this big time person, and I've been on the show for 12 years, and I'm about to quit. And then they think their popularity is so big that it's gonna propel them into something else. But people are like, "You off my show? Who are you?" And a lot of reality stars get hit with that. So if you aren't doing anything while you're on the show to prepare yourself for the next level, like, you can't do the challenge forever. You aren't going to be 50 running around these obstacle courses. Like, you have to have a backup plan. So I don't fault MTV for sitting some of them down, and then now they're looking like that's probably how they negotiate with them. Like, okay, well, you want this price, you sit down for 2 or 3 seasons and you see how much coins you can continue to bring in, and now you can come back and take the price we give you.
I don't know about that. I think a lot of those big-headed cast people like Cara, they know this show loves them. They know production loves them. They know the people in the offices love them. So they get that big head, and then they're like at home, like when they get their invitation, like, I'll think about it. I might go next year. I might not. They get to that level to where
Wait till
the
her
challenge
pockets
to them,
hurt.
for them, the challenge is like beneath them almost because the show is
the challenge is their
yes.
job. A lot of these people, that's their job. They aren't doing anything else but the challenge. Like, they need that check for doing the challenge. If you win, great. And then you also need that publicity to propel your social media so you can get your coins off of social media for being a big name on TV. I think the challenge is their job, and I feel like they hurt when they aren't on.
Yeah, well, you're talking about somebody that's not a big-headed, almost iconic status player. I'm talking about someone. If we're going to talk about Cara, we can't just compare her to just regular players, because to me, Cara, name-wise, is on a whole nother level. Her, Bananas, the CTs, you can't compare their pockets to the pockets of the other girls that have been there a couple times. To me, it's not the same.
I will say that they could be getting leverage now, seeing the ratings. And I didn't see the ratings after this past week's episode with Survivor, but I mean, if they're taking notice and somehow they haven't been on for a while, and then they get an invitation out of the blue, they could be sitting there going like, well, I kind of have an idea of why they're doing this, and I want to get paid, type of thing. So it could be.
Really think that MTV sat Cara down?
No.
Y'all think she said right? Me either.
I think
Cara
she sat
chose
herself down because her boyfriend got sat down.
Oh, I don't think they had a talk, but I also think that they said something about Paulie and how nobody wanted to be on a season with him anymore. And some of the highbrow people said that they didn't want to be on a season with him anymore. And so when they sat him, Cara decided to sit herself down, kind of thing. And then thinking that she was going to get called back anytime soon. And it just never happened. They were like, no, we'll invest in way more first season players from all around the world than hoping to get a timeshare in all these other TV rating spots and open up new markets and stuff, which I don't know how well that's doing, but it's not doing well here. So.
Well, Drew, let me ask you this a little off subject since you brought it up. Who doesn't want to film with Paulie? The only person I could think of is Jordan, and they didn't even invite Jordan back. So
I heard Bananas was manning the helm of not wanting to hang out with Paulie, and when Bananas says something, production normally jumps, or he has a big posse behind him. With Kyle, probably didn't want Paulie back either. He probably was like,
Kyle.
I don't like to get yelled at. I don't want to have this be my storyline every single season. Josh had a big falling out with Paulie, and I just think it's like a huge, like, I feel like War of the Worlds left a sour taste in everybody's mouths to where people are like, I don't want to be doing this. Like, this isn't what I want to do if I'm having to do this every single season from here on out, because somebody wants to yell every single episode or think he's running the show or doing this or that, or maybe their pride got hurt or something. But I heard Bananas was one that was very outspoken. Again, they just had a post that went around of him and Paulie like being all buddies with each other, or they were buddies outside the show or something. But inside the show, they were just not feeling each other. And I think a lot of people were thinking that going back to War of the Worlds, Paulie and Cara were very much a loner, and they would have people that they would work with like Ninja, but they wouldn't work closely with each other. It was just like, when we have to work with each other, we will. But they stayed to themselves most of the time. And Zach, Kyle, Gus, and everybody was just like, would rather be away from them. So I just think that there was a lot of people that were like, I don't want to be back if this is going to be the new normal and he's going to be the new face or be the center of this whole show.
Please don't bring Zach back. That's another one I could put on my list. I don't want to see.
No, Zach
Agreed.
I agree with Zach. Well, hopefully they might give another chance.
Y'all just proved my point. That whole conversation, y'all just kept proving my point with every little sparkle of hope. Y'all just keep proving my point that these players have too much control over this franchise, and the fact that Cara thought she could sit down and flex her muscles to get her way is like, y'all screwed up. Y'all really have one of your cast members thinking that they can control your show. Yikes.
Well, I feel like they sat down in timeout long enough. Let's invite them back. And a lot of the people that don't want to film with them are on the naughty list as well. So invite them back.
How about we rebrand? How about we rebrand, we pivot, and make the show about the challenges and not
I agree.
People
I want
back.
the show to be more about the challenges. I want to see more challenges and things like that. But let me look. I don't have my glasses on. We have 15 minutes before we get to our next exciting live. We're going to do the Survivor episode 1 review next at 7 p.m. Central. That's in 15 minutes. Did anyone want to have any final thoughts and wrap this up with a bow so we can like take a water break, a restroom break, and jump right back in a few minutes?
I think we had a very constructive conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I will say that I feel like the challenge is very leaning that possibly Huey and Berna could win next episode's mission and get into power, which if that were to happen, that could be interesting, but we'll have to see what's going to happen. But it just got that vibe. Like 2 other people were like, well, if Berna and Huey need to win, and if Berna and Huey win, we're in trouble. And then TJ even says like, anything could happen. What could happen now? So I feel like there could be a little bit of a shakeup next episode, but we'll see. We'll see. That's just my speculation. It hasn't happened yet, and I'll believe it when I see it.
I agree. I think it would be great if Berna and Huey could pull it off, and we could see at least one vet's going to go home because a vet rookie team will have to go in. But I think that's just MTV throwing us a bone, so we'll watch next week. I saw the puzzle. And we all know CT is the master of puzzles. So we shall see. Like you said, I'm going to watch. We're going to see. What is your bow, Charles? You want to put a bow on it?
MTV, you're in danger, girl. That's it.
Lord have mercy.
Survivor.
I can't say your name. I'm so sorry. But she said thank you for this. She doesn't have any friends who watch the challenge and she appreciated it. Let me tell you, this is the reason why us, the trio, has got together because we don't have a lot of friends that watch the challenge, and we enjoy talking about it with each other. So we appreciate you all coming and getting in the chat with us as well. So thank you all so much. Jump back on. I can't see. 14 minutes. We'll be back for Survivor. I'm really excited to see what everyone has to say about episode 1. Thank you all so much. I'm Angie with Kiss My Cheeks TV, Drew with Angel Cake Entertainment, and Charles with Charles Warren Online. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you so much. Bye.